Johnny Depp appears to be entering one of the most significant new chapters of his life, and this time, the decision shaping his future may have less to do with Hollywood pressure and more to do with choosing the kind of life he genuinely wants to live. After years of professional uncertainty, intense public scrutiny, and difficult personal chapters, the actor is once again moving forward with a sense of purpose. His latest choices suggest that Depp is no longer interested in simply proving himself to the world. Instead, he seems determined to build a life that feels meaningful, peaceful, and rewarding on his own terms. For Depp, that shift could represent a major emotional turning point. The actor has spent decades living under an extraordinary level of attention, with audiences following everything from his most famous performances to the controversies that have surrounded his personal life. Yet the past several years have seemingly encouraged him to reconsider what truly matters. Rather than chasing every opportunity or attempting to satisfy every expectation placed upon him, Depp appears increasingly focused on selecting projects and experiences that speak to him personally. That change is particularly visible in his renewed relationship with acting. In 2026, Depp is preparing to return to the big screen in Ebenezer, a dark interpretation of Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol, in which he plays Ebenezer Scrooge. The movie is scheduled for release on November 13th, and the project represents his first major studio film in years. Recent reports have described Depp as enthusiastic about the production and focused on his work, while his appearance as Scrooge at San Diego Comic-Con demonstrated that he still knows how to create a memorable moment for audiences. The decision to embrace such a role may be more important than it appears at first glance. Depp has never been an actor who simply disappears into conventional characters. Throughout his career, he has repeatedly chosen unusual, complicated, and eccentric personalities. Scrooge, therefore, feels like a natural continuation of a creative tradition that has included Captain Jack Sparrow, Edward Scissorhands, Willy Wonka, and the Mad Hatter. Rather than attempting to recreate the past, Depp appears to be using the qualities that made him distinctive in the first place. There is another major development that has added excitement to his professional future. Producer Jerry Bruckheimer has confirmed that discussions are taking place about Depp potentially returning as Captain Jack Sparrow in a sixth Pirates of the Caribbean movie. A screenplay is reportedly in progress, although Depp's involvement has not been presented as a finalized commitment. The possibility alone, however, has generated enormous interest because Jack Sparrow remains one of the most recognizable characters of Depp's career. For millions of fans, the possibility of seeing Depp return to the role represents more than another Hollywood sequel. It symbolizes the possibility of an actor reclaiming a part of his professional identity after a turbulent period. Whether or not the proposed return ultimately happens, the fact that discussions are taking place shows how dramatically the conversation around Depp's career has changed. But perhaps the biggest decision in Depp's life is not whether he returns to one particular franchise. It may be the decision to stop allowing his past to define his future. His career has been affected by years of legal battles and public controversy, and those events became a dominant part of the conversation surrounding his name. Yet his current direction suggests a desire to move beyond endless arguments about yesterday and concentrate instead on what comes next. That approach could be one reason his recent professional activity feels different. Depp does not need to prove that he can become the young Hollywood star he once was. He has already established an extraordinary legacy. What he can do now is choose roles that challenge him creatively and give him the opportunity to enjoy his craft again. In that sense, happiness may come not from returning to the exact life he once had, but from accepting that his life has changed. There is also something deeply human about that decision. Fame can create the illusion that success is measured entirely by headlines, box office numbers, and public approval. Depp's recent path suggests a different definition of success. Being able to work on something he enjoys, spend time away from unnecessary noise, and maintain control over his personal choices can be just as valuable as another blockbuster. Achievement. His relationship with his fans also remains an important part of that new chapter. Depp has maintained an enormous international following, despite the years of controversy and professional uncertainty. When he appeared publicly in character as Scrooge, fans immediately responded with excitement. The moment demonstrated that the connection between Depp and his audience has survived a remarkably complicated period. For those supporters, seeing him smile, perform, and embrace a new character carries emotional significance. They have watched him experience professional highs and difficult lows, and many now want to see him simply enjoy his life again. The renewed energy surrounding his career therefore feels like a form of celebration. It is not only about another movie, it is about witnessing someone move forward. Still, it is important not to turn Depp's private life into a fictional story. There have been countless rumors about his relationships, personal decisions, and supposed plans, but not every claim circulating online is confirmed. His happiness should not be measured by speculation about a mystery partner or an alleged private romance. The clearest evidence available today is found in the choices he is actually making, returning to significant acting work, exploring new creative opportunities, and considering the possibility of revisiting one of his most famous roles. Those decisions may ultimately prove more powerful than any dramatic announcement. They suggest an individual who has learned that life does not have to follow the expectations of other people. At 63, Depp has reached a point where he can choose what deserves his attention. That freedom may be one of the greatest rewards of surviving years of pressure and uncertainty. The idea of starting again is especially powerful because Depp's story has never been a simple one. His career has contained enormous success, extraordinary characters, personal relationships, public conflict, and periods when his future in Hollywood seemed uncertain. Yet his latest chapter demonstrates that a difficult period does not necessarily become the final chapter. Perhaps that is the real meaning behind Depp's big life decision. He appears to be choosing forward movement over dwelling on the past. He is choosing creativity over constant controversy, meaningful work over chasing approval, and personal freedom over living according to public expectations. Those choices cannot guarantee a perfect future, but they can create the possibility of a happier one. For fans around the world, that possibility is enough to inspire excitement. The Johnny Depp currently emerging is not necessarily the same man audiences knew decades ago, and perhaps that is exactly the point. He does not need to become his former self again. He can become something new, an experienced artist with the freedom to decide where his story goes next. As Ebenezer approaches its November release, and conversations continue around a possible Pirates of the Caribbean return, Depp's future is suddenly filled with possibilities. Whether every project moves forward remains to be seen, but one thing is increasingly clear: his story is far from finished. The biggest decision may therefore be the simplest one of all, choosing to live again, create again, and look ahead again. After everything that has happened, that choice could be the beginning of the happiness fans have been hoping to see in Johnny Depp's life. And perhaps after years of uncertainty, the most exciting part of his story is not what he has already accomplished, but what he finally feels ready to do next.